Am I the asshole here for not dropping out of a house party despite it making my ex's new fiancé uncomfortable? My ex, 27 male, and I, 26 female, split 2 years ago. We met through my best friend, who worked in the same theater as him then, and the reason we broke up was because he didn't think that we were working out anymore. It was pretty amicable, I didn't put up a fight or anything, but I strongly believed there was no reason for us to be friends anymore. That always causes problems. But I'm still friendly with his friends, and I make small chat if I run into his parents. We live in a pretty close-knit environment. Don't ask me how. We live in a city, but most of my friends and his come from either the same university, or have a common hobby, or we roam around the same circles, and we definitely see each other once or twice every couple of months. My ex has a fiancé now, and I'm happy for them. I have never met her, and until now, I thought this didn't matter or anything. We are all adults, or so I thought. One of his closest friends, Peter, just bought a house. I am friends with his girlfriend, and we are both invited to the housewarming. I didn't think anything of it. However, my ex texted me yesterday, after like a year, albeit very politely, that maybe I could skip the housewarming as he was bringing his fiancée and she will feel uncomfortable. I was pretty weirded out by his wording, so I called him, and he said his fiancé feels uncomfortable that I would be anywhere close to him, and the fact that they both feel like I sometimes intrude into their social gatherings just to prove that I'm better than her to his friends. I got pretty mad hearing him say these things, and I asked him in what way. We are not friends, and I stopped hanging out with his friends the moment that we broke up to not make things difficult for him. There were a lot of people in his circle that I became close to, but I stepped away just so that things weren't awkward for any future partner. And how was it my fault? My ex explained 2 of his friends didn't like or respect his girlfriend and thought of her as an airhead, and so did his parents. Our circles are, I admit, full of literature and theater people, and I admit that some of them can be pretentious. Again, I told him that was him being a spineless boyfriend and not my problem. I told my ex strongly that both Peter and his girlfriend are my friends, and I would be going to their housewarming, and his relationship issues are not my problem. I have blocked him now, and his fiancée sent a long text on how she was sorry, but now I was apparently being vindictive, and how did it matter if I didn't go to a housewarming? She asked me to not make any drama and please respect her. I didn't reply and blocked her. My friends are pissed at my ex, and I haven't told my friend or Peter any of it yet. I think maybe I could have handled it any other way. Am I the asshole here? OP gives context on her relationship to Peter and his girlfriend. Peter's girlfriend and I have been friends for a long time. We were even roommates for 8 months. Technically, I'm a closer friend to Peter than my ex is, even though they are college friends, because of his fiancé's antics, and Pete and another one of his closest friends are drifting away from my ex because he insists on bringing her everywhere and they don't like her. Out of all of my ex's friends, it's only Pete that I'm close to, mainly because of his girlfriend. Plus, his girlfriend and Pete met through me, so I'm a very close part of their friend group. Which is why I was pissed at my ex, because I can understand if he was telling me to skip his best friend's party. Telling me to skip one of my closest friends' housewarming for his fiancée, who people don't like there, sounded so stupid. In the comments, I Know Somethings Too says, not the asshole, but you should tell Peter and his girlfriend. Your ex and his fiancée are dicks. It's not your job to manage their emotions or insecurities. If she's uncomfortable, then she should stay home. Fry1 Fat Manic says, I agree. Peter should be told before the ex has a chance to spin this and make OP the bad guy. OP replies, Peter is one of those people who doesn't like her. Our circle is mainly filled with people who mix within a certain type of bookish thinking. Plus, Peter and another one of my ex's friends think she is an anti-intellectual. Most of my ex's friends are like that. Theater people, or really pretentious assholes. Peter doesn't like her more because he thinks my ex was stupid to break up with me and couldn't handle it if I was doing better than him. Their friendship is already on thin ice, and I don't want to be the reason that it breaks. I was apparently being vindictive, and how did it matter if I didn't go to a housewarming? Call me a cynic, but the fiancé is being vindictive, and how does it matter if she or your dickhead ex don't go to a housewarming? Terra Alpaca says, unblock her and text her back, your insecurities are not my problem to fix. If the housewarming isn't that important, then you and ex are welcome to sit this one out. I will be celebrating my friend's next step into the future with them, and then block her. And Fresh Caramel says, not the arsehole. You handled everything fine. This is their issue, not yours. Anytime you're at the same location as them, obviously avoid them at all costs. And I would really minimize speaking about them at all. The more you can firmly say, I don't talk or think about you, the better. Oh, and the irony. Everything she said to you goes right back at her. You've done nothing in this scenario. It is your ex's request that is creating the drama. Yeah, I'm very much on board with that one here. I don't know why the ex is so insecure in this situation, because it seems like you know the ex's partner quite well. I really feel like he's lying about how much of an impact your presence at the party would have. It just doesn't make sense that you could be roommates with them for 8 months. You know, you not saying anything like, I had a bad relationship with Peter's girlfriend. Like, none of that happened. If you were living together for 8 months, why would they be uncomfortable with seeing you? Maybe they need to get over themselves, not the asshole. And now, onto the update, 9 days later. Thank you for all the lovely suggestions in my previous post, which is why I'm doing an update. I did go to the party. Honestly, after reading that yes, my ex had in fact lost his mind, I decided to not bother Peter or his girlfriend, who is my friend, and just go and mind my business. It's not like my ex and his fiancé would come and scream the house down on seeing me. Again, I guess I didn't mention in my last post, and the reason I was more mad at my ex was because I have a very serious boyfriend. The idea that my ex-fiancés would think that I'd go anywhere to spite my ex, despite having a boyfriend, was really insulting. We went to the housewarming, and I ignored them. I don't care. We are all adults, and I'm not going to fuel drama. And my ex and his fiancé, her especially, made a fool of themselves. And at some point, even I felt bad because I saw how desperate she was for my ex's friends to respect her or take any one of her sentences seriously. Whoever she tried to talk to ignored her or straight up walked away. Again, Peter and my ex's friends are a different group, and I'm not friends with them. But the way that my ex let his friends treat his fiancé made my blood boil. I mostly hung out with my friends, Peter's girlfriend's friend group, and I didn't speak or look at my ex once. One time he said hi, and my boyfriend said hello back, and we didn't see him near us for the rest of the night. His fiancé just asked me if my dress wasn't a bit too modest, and Peter told her that everyone there followed the dress code, casual elegant. Don't ask me, I didn't make the rules. But she didn't. My boyfriend already loathes my ex, so we didn't mingle near them again. Overall, I had a good time. We even got to leave early and have some time to ourselves, watched a movie, and had a good time at home. However, what pissed me off was how much of a shitty fiancé he was, and how much his fiancée was trying to fit in and failing, and he wouldn't even help her. My boyfriend isn't just a bookish person, and he doesn't fit in with some pretentious people either, and he is very blunt, so some people don't like him. Plus, he loves video games and comics, and has hobbies like trekking and diving, which scare me. But we compromise and learn to adjust to each other's interests. Plus, if someone treats my boyfriend even a little like how they treat my ex's fiancé, I would cut them off, no questions asked. And I'm already low contact with a few friends who judged and made comments about him in the past. I really hope that she leaves him. If she has any dignity or he gets his shit together, all in all, not my problem. In the comments, Pristine Armadillo 12 says, something about the first story and the modest dressed comment has me thinking the new fiancé was an affair partner and she's always been insecure about OP. She's been competing with you longer than you realize, probably. Hill Mickelson says, I agree with you. It seems like that girl was the affair partner of OP's ex-fiancé. That would definitely explain the competition, insecurity, why his friends treat her so badly, and why his parents don't like her. It would also explain why he doesn't respect or try to protect her. Why would he take someone with no morals seriously? I bet OP's ex-fiancé's friends and parents like OP more, and the girls in the group are probably making that girl's life hard out of fear that she'll go after their boyfriends, just like she did with OP's ex. OP, keep your distance from them. They don't deserve even a minute of your time. Surround Miserable says, you handled this perfectly. Part of me felt like she didn't want you there because she didn't want the reality check, because she now had the opportunity to see how you interact with people, how your boyfriend interacts with you, and how people interact with her boyfriend, and the paradox between your situation and her situation. It's a shame that you blocked them because I imagine if there were messages in backlash to your success versus hers, they would have been glorious to read. But importantly, you don't care. In fact, you have empathy for her. That's great. Shows how beautifully you've grown over 2 years. And OP, in response to a downvoted comment that claimed she hadn't gotten over her ex, says, wow, because having empathy if a person, no matter how they act, is being treated poorly means that I've not moved on? Caring about how others are being treated doesn't always come with ulterior motives, and my being mad at my ex for being a shit human being towards his fiancée has nothing to do with my non-existent feelings for him, but everything to do with being uncomfortable with another woman being insulted in front of you. Yeah, it really kind of feels like the ex is offloading, the faults in his engagement on the fact that OP is there. I don't want everyone to see how shitty this engagement is. I don't want them to see my mistakes by having OP there and pointing out how bad of a person me and my new fiancé are. I can see why the new fiancé is so insecure. I can see why she's struggling. And it sucks that OP's ex-boyfriend won't help her out in that situation. It doesn't even seem like he likes her that much. I really just don't see that relationship surviving at all. That was one of the more interesting reads of today, so thank you for that one, OP. All the best. High school really never ends for some people. Our next post is by user CalendarLife1313, and it's titled, Overheard Boyfriend Telling His Friend He Could Never Picture Himself Getting Married. Where do I go from here? So I recently stumbled upon this subreddit and want to get a collective opinion about my situation. My 33 female, boyfriend 33 male and I have been together for about 3 years. When we first started dating, he said he was dating to marry, and we had a lot of honest, open conversations about wanting to build towards that level of commitment and partnership. In the years since, we've moved in together and supported each other through so much. As of late, I've been feeling a bit sad because 3 years have gone by, and there's been no talk of engagement or marriage, which doesn't align at all with how adamant my boyfriend was about marriage as a goal when we first met. He would even often tell me how a little voice in his head was telling him just to marry me after we'd only been together for a few months, and other things that made marriage seem like a legitimate goal and priority, but I haven't seen that come into play at all. To make matters worse, I recently overheard him having a conversation with his friend in which he said, I could never see myself getting married. This hurt me quite badly, but instead of freaking out or getting noticeably upset, I just asked him about it. I didn't admit that I'd overheard his conversation, but I did ask what his honest thoughts were about marriage and if his thoughts about it had changed over the years. He responded that he isn't sure he still believes in marriage and can't decide if societal ideas are making him feel pressured to get married one day, or if it's something he actually wants. I reasserted that getting married is a priority for me, and I fully intend to be a wife someday. He didn't really have anything to say to that. We walked away from this conversation very calmly, no heated emotions. But I think I need to leave my boyfriend over this. I'm also realizing that I have basically given him all of the benefits of being married without actually marrying him, and that this is no longer fair to me. I don't resent him, and I don't regret the ways that I've been able to support him, but this has included giving a man a lot of money over the years while he was struggling financially, which I did because it felt like the right thing to do, and because I thought that we were meant to be life partners. What do you think? Do I need to move on? And in the comments, Dolly My Folly says, "You're lucky you overheard what he really thinks. I would leave. Too many of these men who don't want marriage don't mind using women's time and resources. It's interesting how many of these men who don't want to be married are always out here draining some poor woman and taking advantage of the fact that she wants marriage. Let him enjoy being truly single and stop subsidizing his life." Mainly this. It's come to a point that women are so good at providing a happy space, a financial partner, and a warm body that men can't think of any good reason to marry them. Personally, if they don't think that their woman wanting to get married because it'll make them happy is a good reason, then it makes me question their love for that woman or if they really just don't want to owe her anything at all. I read a comment on some thread a while back that I liked. The commenter said in a very generalizing way that there are two types of men. One who wants, quote-unquote, to get married and wants the whole husband lifestyle, and one who doesn't care about marriage. I also think this applies to women, but for the purposes of that other post, it was about men. I actually would add in a third category of those who are outwardly opposed to marriage for whatever reasons. Fear from parents' divorce, against the legalities of it, etc. But when it comes to the second category of a person who doesn't care, then I see it breaking down to those who will still get married because it's important to their partner, and ones who arbitrarily refuse. No real reason, but will lazily just not want to get married. It always seems like there's a part of them that just doesn't want to marry their specific partner at that time. Because if you really don't care either way about marriage, but are lifetime committed to your partner, why wouldn't you just go through with the marriage? My fiancé and I dated for a long time. I went back and forth on wanting marriage. He was fine either way, and I didn't know until more recently, but he mentioned he had started saving up for a ring about a year into the relationship. We've had the marriage lifestyle the whole time. He gets all of the benefits of being married already, but when I decided that I did want to get married, he was on board immediately, and we got engaged on our 10-year anniversary weekend. Ultimately, if it's important to one partner and the other partner doesn't care either way, then I don't see any reason to not just go through with it. If they're hesitant or refusing, then there's either deeper seated issues that needed to be addressed, or they may not be the right person for you. Yeah, I agree with the earlier comments. I think that it's very much lucky that she heard this conversation, because who knows how much time he would have wasted going into the future if she didn't hear that. And if she wants kids, yeah, the clock is ticking, and wasting time with someone that is not going to commit to you, that wants the benefits of marriage but won't actually marry you, it's just not a good idea. We see people in situations like this all the time get out of these relationships that they're in. They hit 34, 35, they are married, and they have like 2 or 3 kids. They just speed that shit up. It's like, well, I wasted all that time beforehand, let's just lock it in. And you can say that they're settling all they want. Sure, I mean, maybe they are settling, but if they want marriage and kids, what other choice do these people have? There's so many people in this day and age that promise the world and back and string along someone because that person was very open and upfront initially in dating, but their partner that latches onto them knows everything to say based on those intentions to get what they want, but they won't commit to a marriage and kids. I think that's just incredibly cruel to string people along. And if your future goals don't align, why not just be open with your partner? Why waste even more time? Just doesn't make sense. Do you hate the person that you're in a 3-year relationship with so much that you can't let go of them? I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. And now, onto the update. I left 4 weeks later. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the hundreds of people who commented on my original post and gave me their heartfelt opinions and advice. I didn't expect such a huge response, and I'm genuinely grateful. To make a long story short, I left him. The truth is, it's not just marriage that my ex was putting off. He continually made promises for the near and distant future that just never came true. From vacations to home renovations, and when I confronted him more directly about the prospect of marriage, he informed me that he didn't feel sure about marrying me, primarily because our families haven't met yet, and because I wasn't willing to buy a house together before we got married. He denied ever saying that he could never see himself getting married, but I know what I heard. How have your families not met and you've been together for 3 years? Is that a thing? Like, I get if it's long distance, but surely not. We had the buying a house together conversation towards the beginning of the relationship, and I was firm and clear that I didn't feel comfortable doing that unless I was married. In fact, I didn't think it was relevant to include it to my previous post because I thought it had been resolved between us. And I don't see why our families should meet if we aren't at least engaged, but maybe that's just me. We had other issues as well, which I won't go into too deeply. But over time, I've started to feel less like a partner and more like a housekeeper. My ex was very, very messy, and a frustration he voiced as we were breaking up was that I wasn't willing to pick up after him. I am not kidding. He used those words. I did my best to keep that house clean, but there are certain things that I would just give up on because it's frustrating to clean up after a grown adult who's throwing trash and clothing all over the floor and furniture. I felt very stung by all of this, and honestly, I think I deserve better. I did the math and learned that I had given him nearly $18,000 over 3 years, most of which went towards his mortgage. Yikes. He offered, without me prompting, to start paying it back, but I haven't started making those arrangements yet. I'm currently staying with my parents through the holiday season and will be moving into a new place in January. As sad as I feel, I also feel deeply at peace. My husband is out there, and I know that I will find him in the coming years. In the comments, Horror Friendship says, I see a pattern. He makes trash, he treats you like trash, he is trash. Good riddance to him. Find someone who values you. A frustration he voiced as we were breaking up was that I wasn't willing to pick up after him. Wait, what? Well, good job, OP, dumping this guy that dumps trash on the floor and gets mad at you that you don't pick up after him? Good grief. I hope you get your money back. What? I can answer this one. He wanted a literal bangmaid. I hate that word, but damn if it doesn't have its uses. OP, I feel you. I left my ex earlier this year. He's in his mid-30s, and he left trash all over the house. I had to repeatedly warn him to clean up. At one point, I was so frustrated, I told him it cannot seriously be that I have to remind him every day to do something that should come naturally to an adult human. No joke, his reply was, "We only have to do this because we're not wealthy. If we wouldn't have been middle class, we wouldn't have had to clean up our own mess." And mind you, this is a well-educated man with a graduate degree from a good university. My point being, I can't believe I had ever wanted a man like that as a husband. I thank myself every day for leaving him. You should too. There are guys out there who would gladly take care of themselves, and you. And OP replies, I'm glad that you left. We are both stronger and better off for it. Looking back at the conversations and arguments my ex and I had about household chores, I now realize that what he outright said about expecting and wanting me to clean up after him was something that had always been implied, just lurking beneath the surface. He had very specific ways he felt things should be cleaned, but rarely, if ever, lifted a finger to clean himself. It caused the majority of our arguments. The other kicker I didn't include in this post is that he tried to accuse me of being the one who made the majority of the mess in the house, claiming that it wouldn't be so messy if I didn't live there, which I can confidently say is not true. It feels really bizarre to talk to grown adults with these kinds of attitudes, and I definitely am thanking myself for getting out. Oh my god, almost $20,000 in debt, and having to be subjected to the bangmaid role for 3 years. I'd be running for the hills too, OP. But I'd also love to be a fly on the wall to see what his house looks like now that he doesn't have his bangmaid. Very smart that you didn't buy a house with that guy. I feel like there was something in your brain that was like, I'm in danger. So good on you for that one, and good on you for sharing the story with us, OP. I very much appreciate that. Hope all goes well going into the future, and I'd love to know what you guys think of this one. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.